All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. Might be a day late, and maybe that's a good thing. So we have time to settle in with this very difficult loss by the Avalanche to the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we'll break this all down as well as discuss tonight's game, Stanley Cup rematch against the Tampa Bay Lightning. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Locked On Avalanche. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow us on our social media outlets, LOP_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Get notified when a new show goes live. And apologies for the delay. We wanted to do this yesterday, but when the president is talking and you work for a television and radio station, it's tough to get away from that. Is that as Mr. Sullivan has learned firsthand?
Yeah, they kind of need you there for that. So we're getting out of that one.
All right. So why don't we dive into this game? We'll get to the Tampa Bay game later. We'll get to our sound check, which we'll get to later, obviously. But we'll start with just the overall thoughts of this game. And usually we record moments after, a game is over. And we've recorded after games like that have happened. When you've been doing this for a few years, games like that are going to happen. But sometimes it is a little bit better to stand back and kind of maybe take a big picture. It doesn't ease the pain of a loss like this, but maybe like you can collect your thoughts a little bit better and talk about it in a more direct way than just the anger taking over for a game like that. Because the Avs, I don't want to say you never have, when it's a 1-0 game in the game of hockey, you never have it that it's just, in your grasp and victory is, it's never guaranteed when you have a 1-0 lead. It's never guaranteed when you have the 3-1 dreaded lead. That's the beauty of this game, but that's the frustration of it when you're on the losing side, like the Avalanche, whereas they give up a goal late and then lose it in overtime, 2-1 to Pittsburgh. What's your thoughts?
Our episode leading into the Pittsburgh game, we were talking about winning that first period and carrying the momentum all the way through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Neither team did that. The Avalanche got on the board in the second period, and you brought up the point that rust was going to be a factor in this game. Well, did we know that it would be Brian Rust?
Different kind of rust.
16-22 in the third period. Like, you take a breath. You get that dreaded feeling of being comfortable that the Avalanche have grown accustomed to, and they breathe for a second, and they let the game get tied up where it honestly, if you look at like the stats kind of favor the Avs, we'll get to that in a little bit, but you had opportunities to put this game away and you didn't. And then you can't expect for everybody to have broken hearts with the result when you left a lot on the table. You took your third period break and then overtime, that goal was interesting.
Well, I mean, the frustration part for me is like how Pittsburgh tied it up.
Yeah.
And with Pavel Francouz kind of like making a dive for the puck, if you need to do that as a goalie and that's going through your head, again, never played the position. But if I feel like I need to dive to get this puck, just shuffleboarded away, maybe I should not do that because for multiple reasons. Number one, it's going to immediately put you out of position. And are you really going to get that much oomph on the thing to get it so far beyond where a player is on the opposing team where they can't collect the puck? And then what happened? You know what I mean? Like it's you're not going to disrupt the play that much by you getting on your stomach and trying to just push to nudge really a puck. It's, if you want to come out of the zone and you're on your skates and you want to like just fling it up the boards or something like that, okay. I mean, I would rather have that than you flailing to try to knock a puck. That's it's not gonna have a lot of mustard on it, and it's not gonna go very far. And what happened? You put yourself so far out of position. Now you're scrambling to get back. You don't know where the puck is, and it's a goal. That's what annoyed me more than anything, because they didn't get a goal on just a solid play by them or just a solid like bar down shot or something like that. They got it on that.
Yeah.
And then you go to overtime where absolutely anything can happen. And the Avalanche are on a power play, obviously a 4-on-3. McKinnon hits the post again. So, I mean, they had opportunities and then, Pittsburgh puts it away. So for 50 plus minutes, the Avalanche played a great game.
Yeah.
The only thing they couldn't do was put more pucks in the net. And you had one lapse in judgment, and then you go to overtime. And when Pittsburgh's in a position like that, that's exactly what they were looking for. Get some sort of greasy goal, and then when we can get to 3-on-3, anything's possible.
And usually you want to use that goalie poke and that additional little, you want to use that towards like the first period and second period, where you can get in the mind of your opponent that, hey, I'm not taking this thing in too close, because he's already going to be poking it. He's out there trying to muck it up. So you want to clear it up. You don't use that late, because especially with a 1-goal lead, like you don't play that reckless towards the end. So it's iffy. I don't know why. And then even the overtime goal, like there was bodies, there was commotion, and you're going down. I'm telling you, we've had a day to think about this, and I have replayed how he went down curling like an alligator on a shot that you could just take straight on. He was beat and fooled, and I'm still scratching my head about it.
Yeah, it was just for, like I said, for 50 plus minutes, like you really didn't have a problem with how they were outplaying Pittsburgh at every turn. But once again, these third period struggles continue. This time it was later in the third. It wasn't pretty much for the duration of the third. Yeah, Pittsburgh stepped up their game in the third.
Yeah.
They definitely, and again, you have to. You can't just keep doing things the same way and expecting a different result. You have to change your tempo, your speed. You just have to do differently. And they were. I give the Avs a little bit of credit here for at least getting more shots on net in the third, because these other games where they're just falling apart in the third, they're not getting a lot of shots. At least they had double digits in shots. But you just want to see them when you're out there, that the other team is pressing and maybe the ice is tilted a little bit in their direction. I keep saying this, you just want something or someone to just rise up, and we know who those people are. And Nathan McKinnon was great all night. It was great all night, and he had that fantastic goal, and that was it for the Avs. But there were so many just opportunities that I don't want to say always, but a lot of the times we're just used to the Avalanche when they throw that many shots on net. I think they had 30 after 2 periods. It's like, okay, sooner or later you just keep playing like this, and the dam is going to break, and it never did. I guess some of that is credit to Casey DeSmith. But I don't want to be giving credit to him. The Avalanche are better than that, and they should be beating him 9 times out of 10. Oh, your mic's off. I can't hear you. So I don't know. Fix that. You know what we'll do? We'll hear from FanDuel, and then Kyle will get hopefully his microphone fixed. But FanDuel.com this year, the only app that you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And we are really excited about our new sportsbook betting partner for Locked On, because they are the #1 sportsbook in America, and that is FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better, because they have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. So you can download the FanDuel app now so you can bet on Super Bowl, 57 with a no sweat first bet, and you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. We are right around the corner. I mean, usually you get like excited for like right around now. Do you get like the butterflies in the stomach for the Super Bowl, even though like your team's not in it? You still get a little bit. You have to get excited for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, around media days, you really get excited.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. So, but I'm still on that hating Kansas City. But and it's weird because like I kind of do like Patrick Mahomes. Like he seems like a good guy. I just don't want Kansas City to win.
I plead the fifth on Patrick Mahomes.
So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. So before you had your difficulties, I don't know if you were going to go down some road there, but take it away, sir.
Yeah, and it will it goes hand in hand with us doing a deeper dive at like the stats and everything. You brought up the fantastic point of you had opportunities.
Yep.
You can't log 40 plus shots and go on 4 power plays and walk away with 1 goal. Especially we talked on Monday's episode, the defense for Pittsburgh is really good. But the Avalanche on paper are theoretically better, especially with how they've been scoring and really getting things going again. You shouldn't be leaving all those opportunities out there. And we can't sit here with a day of separation saying these 2 moves by Francouz are the real head scratchers. No, you gotta be scoring it at will, honestly. In that first and second period, you shouldn't be leaving goose eggs in the first period.
No, man, like they were everything about you. Just look, if you just looked at the stats over the first 2 periods, you would then you see the score.
Yeah,
you're like, how is that possible? I mean, the Avs were doing everything right. They were playing great defense. Shots on goal, I got it in front. I think it was like 30 to 15 or 16. 29 to 16 after 2. So like they were getting tons of shots on net. They were preventing Pittsburgh from getting really good looks. I threw the Corsi and the Fenwick up on Twitter when we were talking about it, how Pittsburgh had 16 shots on goal, but their Corsi and Fenwick was closer to the Avalanche.
Yeah.
So that tells you that a lot of shots that were directed towards the net were not on net. So the Avs were playing good defense. They were keeping things outside the dots. They really weren't letting Pittsburgh get into the house or anything. Like you had really no complaints except the score.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, this time it was just a couple plays that you can pinpoint that just make you just go, ugh.
And two additional stats that'll really bother you. The Avalanche won the faceoff percentage.
They did.
And the score was 2-1. Cale Makar was -2. Sam Girard was a +1.
Yeah.
So you can sit on that one. All the Sammy G haters,
the plus minus people. Yeah.
Yeah. And the plus minus people for sure.
Yep.
But you had the scary looking injury to like Cale Makar going out.
Just going to get to that.
Yeah,
we're just going to get to that. So, a lot of people are talking about that, understandably so. Jeff Carter with the hit to Cale Makar's head, and Makar goes right down. He gets up on his own, goes back to the bench, goes into the locker room because the spotters spotted it and made him go through the concussion protocol. He did come back. But I think a lot of people are rightly and understandably so, like, mad about that specific hit. And it was, to me, like, clearly unnecessary. I know a lot of people think, like, I think it was egregious into the point where he was intending to hit him. I don't know if he was intending to hit him there, but he was tending to blindside hit him. So to me, it doesn't matter if the intent was there. It's the end result. The end result is you hit a guy in his head.
Yeah.
And there can be a lot of times where you don't mean to do that. I'm not saying that's what Jeff Carter did. I think Carter intended to hit him high and maybe like right under I think he intended to do it. And it was blindside, and it was from Makar's back end. And when he goes down like that, and then for the refs to say afterward that it was a collision between the two of them, what in the world are you watching? You clearly missed that play, and that's your excuse. And now I believe Department of Player Safety is kind of just washing their hands of this and not doing a thing. I don't think that was suspendable.
No.
But if you're going to hit a guy in his head, intentional or not, I think you need to at least fine that, because that will at least, the fines are pennies to these guys, right? But I think that will kind of like let players know, even if you don't mean to do it, you need just like you're always supposed to be in control of your stick, or that's a penalty. You're always supposed to be in control of where you're going to hit a guy. And there are going to be moments where, if a guy is bent down or something like that, and you don't intend to do it, then we can have that conversation. Makar wasn't doing that. Makar was not bent over. He wasn't bent at the waist. He was standing upright, and he was making some sort of play on the puck, but it wasn't on his stick. And Carter clipped him right in the head. And whether or not it was intentional, I don't care, because he did it. And it should have been a penalty and maybe even a fine.
I don't know if the fine would happen, because you see what Jacob Trouba's getting away with right now, and it's highlight reel stuff. He's been on a rampage all year.
And at least the one on Kadri, that was a clean hit. I mean, it was hard, but that was a clean hit.
And when you're looking at Jeff Carter, when he's coming in at Cale, and I'm not defending the Penguins, by the way, just throwing that out there, but the way he was skating in there, I think he was trying to he was going to go in there hard, but I don't think he was planning on Cale turning into him. It looked like he was trying to get between, because the puck was coming out. It looked like he was trying to get into the boards, get that position on Cale before he turns around, but Cale turns around right into him.
Right.
So it kind of happened that way.
It happened, right.
So I don't know if a fine would have ever come down, but when it comes to the position of he was concussed because of your hit, it's something that needs to be called into review.
Yeah, and I think Cale Makar came back to play, and that's kind of why Department of Player Safety is going to be like, well, what are we fining?
Yeah,
he wasn't injured. He came back into the game. What are we going to fine? You're going to fine a hit to the head. And I'm sorry, I'm just, I ever since this went down with football, however many years ago, I have just been a big proponent of, you need to protect guys' heads. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, I'm not okay with it. And I understand that sometimes the accidental hit in the head will happen. This wasn't that so much. But like I said, even if it was, I think you got to hit the guys in the wallet to say, like, you need to be more aware of what you're doing and where you're going to hit these guys, because this is going to be the end result.
And you need to make this a mandate, not an individual. Like we just brought up Trouba and the Jeff Carter hit, like two different instances, two different outcomes. Just make it a mandate. If you're going high, anything above the shoulders, it doesn't matter. We're not playing that game. Yeah. Because we're avoiding stories like Bo Byram. And you just make it a mandatory, hey, that was a high hit. You know the rule. It's a league mandate. And this is your 10,000, 5,000, whatever fine. You just,
it's like so small.
Yeah.
It's like 2,000. It's some weird number. Like,
but make it universal to the point that going in, I have to start going low, because this is going to be called and people are going to be talking about it.
Just extend it like you do with be in control of your stick.
Yep.
How many times is there an accidental stick to the face? It's still a penalty.
Yep.
We don't say, no, that was accidental. It's like, no, the rule is you have to be in control of your stick at all times. You have to be in control of your checks at all times.
Yeah.
And if it goes high, it's a penalty. And if we have to and if it's, egregious, it's a suspension and or fine.
So Cale Makar has already waived off one penalty this year, and he's tried to wave off one concussion this year. He's going for it.
What kind of hat trick is that? Who are we going to name that hat trick after? I don't know.
We'll have to figure that one out.
The Ty Domi hat trick or something? I don't know. So, and then you had Bo Byram come back. Well, we'll get to him in a minute. So we'll talk about that. And then there were, this is almost comical. It's like when we get guys back, it's like, okay, who are the hockey gods going to take away from us that, because they gave us, and it almost happened.
Yeah.
Almost happened twice. So we'll talk about that and then get to the Lightning game and our sound checks as well. But first, we're going to talk about Built Bar. You know Built Bar, and you love Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories, then you have got to try Built Bar. Yes, we just got through the holidays and the new year, but what's coming up now is Super Bowl Sunday, where the pizza, wings, and sodas and everything else is flying. So if you want to go pig out on Super Bowl Sunday, be my guest, but maybe get back on that health kick on Monday and make Built Bar part of that health kick. And what makes Built Bar so good? For starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate, Kyle. That is right.
Don't I know?
Real chocolate. And they come in unbelievably delicious flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. We don't know how they do it, but somehow they make these things taste like candy bars, and you're eating healthy in the process. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't have to go to built.com to put your order in. If you want to, feel free, but you can also go to your local Walmart or Sam's Club and pick these bad boys up. So if you're close to a Sam's Club, run in, grab a 13-bar pack with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro, and you can definitely thank Kyle and I later. All right, so yes, we got Bo Byram back. We got Val Nichushkin back, and Byram thrown right to the Wolves. How many minutes did he log?
He tallied a point.
Yeah, he got an assist, 21 and a half minutes. So, no easing him in at all. And I thought he looked good. So he came back, and Val Nichushkin came back. Val with 22 minutes of ice time. He was a -1. He seemed like he might have needed a game, which is odd because Byram's been out longer. But I think maybe because Nichushkin has been out multiple times for the same injury, we think maybe he was just a little bit tentative for game one. So they're going to need him for this game.
Yeah, and he's always, when he comes back, he always takes the game and he gets back in the swing of things.
Yeah. So like I said, like you get those guys back, and it seems like the way that it's gone for the Avalanche is like, okay, well, we have players back. Who's going to get hurt? And for a moment, I thought it was Arturi Lehkonen. He got hit kind of like in the instep of his foot, which can hurt.
Yes.
So, but he came back. He kept
going back and forth between the locker room like a cuckoo clock.
He did it twice, right?
Yeah.
What was
and I couldn't get peace about it.
I can't remember. What was the other one that or no, Byram did. Byram went to the locker room because he got hit. He got hit in the leg too. Initially, they thought he got hit in the back, but I think he got hit in the foot or the lower leg as well. So, and that was early on, and he's going back into the locker room. And you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Dude finally comes back, and now he's going to suffer a different lower body injury. But he came back and played. I thought he played overall very well. So, yeah. I mean, now you have to turn the page. You know what I mean? Like now it is your Stanley Cup rematch in Tampa Bay. The last time you were there, you won the Stanley Cup on their ice. You didn't need to do that in order for Tampa Bay to get up for this game, but they are. And the thing is, like, the Avalanche obviously coming off that loss. We've talked about it. So is Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa's coming off of 2 losses. They have what was it? So they lost to the Panthers the first game back from the break 7-1. I don't know what was going on there. I didn't talk to Denker about it, but I didn't catch any of that game. But who knows? And then they just lost to San Jose 4-3. Was that? and that was at home. They lost to San Jose. They're not going to be happy. I mean, you can add all of the fanfare of it being a Stanley Cup rematch, and that will play some sort of role. But for Tampa, they want to get back. They don't want a 3-game losing streak. So they have all the kind of just, let's go after it and get back a W. And the Avs have the same feeling right now after that loss. So you're going to see two teams desperate in this game, playing their hearts out. I can almost guarantee you that.
The Avs don't want to be seen as the defending Stanley Cup champions in the last wild card spot. And by the way, this game is on ESPN. This is a big Wednesday night hockey pomp and circumstance. Play the trumpets, here they come. Stanley Cup rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are reeling. Both teams, they need to right the ship.
Yeah.
And 2 points in regulation is something both teams need. And I feel if the Avalanche are sitting in the locker room talking like we've been talking about this last game, just like ho-hum, like we got to stop doing this. No, the Avs need to be fired up for this matchup because Tampa Bay is going to be very fired up for this matchup.
Yep, they definitely are. And it's, you know what you're going to get from Tampa.
Yep.
Like they are still a formidable team. Sure, two losses, not like they're throwing in the towel or anything like that. Very good power play team, and what are they, number 3 in the league in their power play at 26%. They're only behind the Senators and Edmonton. And then for their penalty kill, they are right around like halfway or so. So just shy of 80% on their penalty kill. But we know the players that they have. You know, they are a dangerous team. So the Avs, you don't want them to press because, you know, you want to have them feel like, okay, like we let one slip through. Yeah, we got a point, but we should have had 2. And now we got to press even harder because you press against this team and they will make you pay.
Yep.
So, you know, you're likely going to have Vasilevsky in net. Okay. Like he was, I mean, if you remember his reaction to when, you know, it ended and the Avs won the Stanley Cup, like he was not happy.
Yeah.
He was throwing sticks and stuff in the locker room. So he, if anybody, you know, the whole team is going to be up for this. He specifically will be. So I don't know. Maybe you're going to get a low scoring game here. But the Avs are going to do everything they can to get 2 points. They need it. They need it. Because you're right. Like how you started this saying, like, you don't want to be known as the team that is toying that line of in a wild card spot out of the playoffs. You don't want to be doing that for too much longer. You got to get on a roll now, and you got to solidify a spot in the division. Like you need to secure, and it's going to be tough because Minnesota's right there with you, but you don't want to be keep doing this seesaw battle with we're in and out of the playoff spot. You got to start hitting a stride right now.
It starts wearing on you, and it starts wearing on the fan base, and then the home ice advantage starts being a little strained, and you start losing your resources. Like you have to get back on the track.
Yeah. And if you can win it, if you can do it against Tampa, that you can rally around that. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, remember that this isn't the feeling of winning the Stanley Cup, but this is the team that we beat to win the Stanley Cup. And, you know, maybe it just gets into your head and that starts something. So let's hope for that. One more piece of business to get to today, and that is our sound check. Haven't had one of these in a while, man. So because of the break. So Kyle and I pick 2 songs that we feel best summarize the most recent game. In this case, obviously the Avalanche and Pittsburgh. And we throw these songs up on a playlist over on Spotify. So just go on Spotify and search LOA Soundcheck. This is volume 2. And volume 1 obviously is still up there. If you want to follow that, feel free. What do you got for this game here, sir?
This is not just for this game, but everything going forward. You went into this game against Pittsburgh and walked out with 1 point in overtime. Arctic Monkeys, 1 point perspective. Everything matters from this point forward. Like, yes, this loss stings, but then you immediately start thinking about Where do we sit in the standings? This is what we were talking about Monday. You are now looking at the leaderboard, the standings. Why in the world is Minnesota above us when the records are the same? The narratives, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
1 point perspective, it would have been a quiet, positive run if you would have got 2.
Yeah, and you wanted to come out of that break with a nice win, and that would have been a nice win on the road. You played great for most of it, so yeah, that's a good pick for me. I went with a kind of a deep cut Aerosmith song from their 9 Lives album. Very underrated album, if you ask me. I like this came out in my high school days, and I wasn't a huge Aerosmith fan. Like you liked Aerosmith. How can you not like Aerosmith? It's not like I collected every album that they came out with. But when this album dropped, that 9 Lives album, I'm like, all right, Aerosmith, I can get down with you. I like this.
I warmed up to them when they had Guitar Hero Aerosmith.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Guitar Hero. Yeah.
I had that I know of them. I know their songs.
Oh, yeah. No,
but playing that, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I respect these guys.
Yes. So this is from the 9 Lives album, and it's called Something's Gotta Give. And I just feel like we're at the stage of the season where, something has got to give. And it's got to be the Avalanche just hitting a stride. And if you can't do it, by the end of this month, you're really cutting it close. And I don't want this season to go up to, while that was fun, the last game against St. Louis, and it was winner gets into the playoffs. I can't go through that. Like, you don't want to do that when you're the Stanley Cup defending champ. So I do. I just feel like something has got to give with this team, and getting on a good roll is that.
And you don't want to do it this year because we end the year on a back-to-back in Nashville. So
what's the first game of it?
Winnipeg at home.
Jeez. So it's home in Winnipeg and then away in
Nashville.
I mean, in a way that's good because it's 2 division games, and you might, I'm assuming Nashville's going to be below you, but for that first one against Winnipeg, that's going to be a doozy.
And if Nashville's got nothing left to play for, it could be.
Right. We're getting too far ahead, sir. We're getting too far ahead. We're going to wait on that. All right, everyone. That is going to wrap it up for today. So thank you for sticking with us and on our bye day. But we will be back tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to hook up with Denker here and maybe do a crossover after the game's over. We'll see. If not, we'll do another one later with him. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, and I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Enjoy the game, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.